An eventful first week at the UN General Assembly comes to a close today. World leaders have participated. There have been discussions on critical issues, certainly many speeches. And our Chris Reyes has been there to cover it all. Once again, she's in New York for us live. What stood out for you, Chris, in this first week?
Well, Heather, I'm taking you to a different part of the UN grounds just to give you a sense of how the General Assembly has been engaging guests here on all of the problems that they're trying to solve, including this one, climate action. And this really stood out to me. I'm going to open this. You'll hear the Secretary General speaking. It stood out to me that there was such a consensus among world leaders that have spoken so far about the urgency of addressing this problem right now. And they brought with them some pretty powerful stories. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau brought with him 2 fire chiefs who have been battling the wildfires in Canada. Those fire chiefs pleaded for help, not just immediate action, but proactive solutions. And then, Heather, yesterday afternoon, I had the chance to interview a youth rep from Tuvalu, small island nation in the South Pacific at the top of the list, at risk of disappearing with rising sea levels. And what really stood out to me there, the heartbreak in his voice.
Why should be a nation that is really like a very peaceful nation, living with every richness of our culture and our heritage and the lovingness of the people? Like, why should we just let Tuvalu vanish for nothing? This is how unfair it is.
Heather, another moment that stood out, of course, President Zelensky's presence here. Here's a photo that I took of the clamor of reporters trying to get into the Security Council as he was about to deliver his speech. I was in that room when he gave his address. It was solemn, it was tense, but it wasn't the showdown that everybody was predicting between Russia and Ukraine. In fact, it was a little bit more of a snub, with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov not being in the room when Zelensky spoke, and then Zelensky leaving the room when Lavrov spoke. But there was a tense moment between the Prime Minister of Albania and the Russian ambassador, the Prime Minister of Albania chairing this meeting, and he was scolded by the Russian ambassador for even allowing Zelensky to speak in the first place.
I must say that coming from you, all this lecture of violating the rules in this building is quite an impressive shoot. There is a solution for this if you agree. You stop the war and President Zelensky will not take the floor.
So, an interesting moment there that people may have watched, or missed rather, Chris, in the whole week of watching speeches and statements of goals. They're calling this a halfway point summit for the UN Sustainable Development Goals. Chris, Canada's playing a role in that. Can you tell us more about it?
That's right. There are 17 goals altogether that 193 member states of the UN agreed to back in 2015. All of these doors, by the way, Heather, represents those goals. I don't have time to open each one of them for you, but it is an ambitious plan to tackle some of the world's biggest problems, from extreme poverty to gender equality to clean waters for all. And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was front and center in a lot of those discussions. He said that these goals are not nice to haves, that they are a foundation for stable societies in the future. He's also the co-chair of the advocacy group for the SDGs, along with Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley, and she's speaking today at the General Assembly.
Chris, thank you very much. Chris Reyes in New York, and we're just getting some word